Hello, this is Domenico with Easynomics, and this is part 2 of a quantitative paper 3 practice question using price floors within the context of microeconomics. You can search for these videos by using this right here. Also, you'll find them within different playlists. One of them would be the micro government intervention playlist, which goes over indirect taxes, subsidies, as well as price floors and price ceilings, minimum wage, and so on. You can also find this video within the dedicated playlist for paper 2, paper 3 calculations, the quantitative aspect, which standard level students will need to do on a paper 2 and higher level on paper 2 and paper 3. So we've been using wheat production in the United States. You can see that the US is the 4th largest producer of wheat, China being number 1, followed by India and then Russia. So in the first video, which will be linked below, we went over question A, and we were calculating changes in consumer surplus. On paper 3, they can give you the model on a matrix with quantities on the X and Y axis, and then you can make some accurate calculations. In this video, we're going to tackle changes in producer surplus. So these are the notes from the previous video of calculating surface areas of triangles and the trapezium. I'll get rid of that. And in this video, it's going to be very similar to the video on consumer surplus. Why do I keep erasing that? Let me try one more time. We're going to be calculating the surface area of two triangles and subtracting them from each other. And a much easier way of calculating it is by using a trapezium formula, calculating the surface area of a trapezium. Okay, so here we're just getting rid of those notes from the previous video. And then we'll get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at question B. On a test, be in the habit of underlining key terms so that you know what the question's asking you to do. So here we need to calculate a change in producer surplus as a result of the imposition of the price floor. So we need to think about producer surplus before, producer surplus after, and what's the difference between them. So I want you to pause the video, and with this model that you see here, do your own calculations so that we can check your work with my workings. So please pause the video now and attempt question B. Pause the video now. All right, let's take a look and see how you did. First thing is we want to look at the initial producer surplus. So I want to highlight that area. And so here, oops, we don't want that. I'm going to follow the supply curve up to the free market price of $230 per metric ton. And here I can clearly see that that is the triangular area of the initial producer surplus. So here we'll mark that the initial producer surplus is the surface area of that triangle. And since it's a triangle, I want to do base times height divide by 2. So I want to first figure out what's the height. And so the height is going to be equal to 230 minus 70. And so my height now, 230 minus 70 is $160. Perfect. What's the base? The base is going to be equal to, here we can clearly see, the free market quantity of 24 million. Fine. So base times height. So I'm going to take 160 times 24 million. And that's going to equal 3,840 million. Divide that by 2 since it's a triangle. And that will give me an answer of 1,920 million. So I'm going to highlight that as my initial producer surplus. Then I'm going to move on to the next producer surplus? What's the final producer surplus? It has increased. Producers are getting a higher price, and so they're going to increase their quantity of supply along their supply curve from 24 million metric tons to 33 million metric tons. So let's now see what that area looks like. So I'm going to follow the supply curve up to that higher price. Now I see the new triangular area. Okay, there it is. So let's figure out what's the height. So the height now is going to be equal to 290 minus 70. That's now going to be equal to 220. That is my height. My base, I can clearly see, is now at 33. All right. Quantity supply has increased to 33 million. So the base now is 33 million. Now base times height. So here we have the change. Oops, sorry. I'm getting a little bit ahead there. So here we have 220 times 33 million. And that's going to equal 7,260 divided by 2 because it's a triangle. And so that's going to equal 3,630 million. Okay, so I'm going to now mark that area. And I'm going to subtract the 2. So now I can get to my final answer. The change in the producer surplus is going to be equal to final minus initial. And that final value is 3,630 million minus 1,920 million. And so that equals 1,710 million. So there is my final answer, and I'll highlight that in green. Okay. Now, before we end, I want to highlight that there's a faster way. We want to use more. We want to be in the habit of using the formula for a trapezium. And the trapezium area is this area. The difference between the two triangles is right here. All right, so there we see that difference between the two triangles. And so that is a particular shape. That's a trapezium, which has this shape in this model. And the formula is adding up the two lengths, A and B, multiplied by C. So we have A plus B in brackets times the height of C divided by 2. So let's add up the two lengths. The two lengths is 33 million plus 24 million. So we have the two lengths of 33, put M for million, plus 24 million. I'll put that in brackets. We'll multiply that by the height. The height is 290 minus 230. 290 minus 230. All right, so that's going to work out to 57 million times 290 minus 230, which is 60. All right, and that's going to equal 3,420. I'll put M for million, and I'm going to divide that by 2. And so my final answer, since I'm running out of space, put it right over here. That final answer is going to be 1,710 million. Much faster way of calculating that. Okay, so here we have that. And we can see that I've arrived to the same answer using these two ways, right? 1,710 1,710 million. So the change in producer surplus is that producers have gained, they've increased their surplus by $1,710 million. Okay? Great. In the next two videos, we'll go over question C, calculating the welfare loss and discussing allocative inefficiency as a result of the imposition of the price floor. If you have any questions about this particular video, you can comment those questions below. And don't forget to subscribe and to like. Thank you so much.